A little bit about myself. My name, as Pankaj introduced, Jasdeep Virdi. I'm a certified internist practicing with the Kaiser Permanente in Central Valley, specifically in Modesto, for more than 16 years. My leadership role that I'm really, really passionate about is serving as co-chair for physicians, health, and wellness. And in Central Valley Kaiser, we are 800 plus physicians. And the role that I'm really, really passionate about is the lead for Women Physician Wellness Group. And we have about 300 plus women physicians here in Central Valley, Kaiser Permanente. A little bit about myself outside work, interesting bit. I'm a Punjabi, married to a Malayali. So shadi.com working well for now. I have two boys. I have 14-year-old Tejas, who's actually a published author of two sci-fi books on Amazon. And all the proceeds have been donated to a Valley Children's Hospital. He's been writing since he was 6 years old, and everyone says it's the Malayali genes. So I said, okay. My other one is a different story. He's my 11-year-old, and he takes more after Punjabi genes. So for me, balancing like motherhood between like two states, it can be challenging sometimes. But I guess God, granted me the gift of love for challenges. So I love them so much dearly. So today we are here to talk about some wellness, share some best practices, and how do we create and maintain optimism, especially during the times like this. I like my talks to be very casual, laid back, interactive. So please feel free to text your questions, and we'll try to, take as many questions during the time that I have. And if we have more questions, I can have Som send those questions to me, and then I can get back to them. So, not the best start, right? And possible ending to 2020. We had so many milestone events planned, had to be canceled, changed to virtual, or postponed. And change is something that most of us, we don't take very well, especially when it's lasting for such a long time and it's coming with so much of uncertainty. We are grieving our loss of normalcy. We are fearing the health of ourselves and our loved ones. We are fearing economy, like what impact it's going to have on our economy. So there's so many variables, constant fear. And how do we get to cope? How do we have some skills to kind of get over this phase that we are feeling? So we're going to have some discussion about like whether it's the kids, whether it's the working families, or whether it's our seniors, like how it's affecting, how this pandemic is affecting all different age groups, all different demographics. So as a physician, I never knew I could work from home other than charting, documenting, but doing virtual care, talking to patients, taking care of patients has actually been an interesting experience for me. And actually we've done really well in terms of that. And I think that's encouraging in some ways that it might give some flexibility to physicians to be able to work from home, and maybe the work-life balance actually might actually happen, not a myth anymore. But there's one slide I want to show, slide number 2. That's the one. So this is how it is, right? Working from home. As mom, as wife, we have so many things, like in between, I'm calling patients, doing video visits, I'm going down, fixing breakfast, then coming upstairs, putting my white coat, getting ready for video visit. So, it's kind of put a little bit of challenge into our, what I call the second shift as a mom, because we are still, oh yeah, one thing that's missing is a barber, because I think I'm the official barber of the house now. Um, so, so what we're doing is we are, as women, we are doing our regular job, daytime job, and then our second shift starts, whether it's daughter, daughter-in-law, mother, wife, and this has taken its toll. I hear about it. And I mean, I just want to kind of make sure that we all are coping well with it. I want to make sure that you're asking for help, and making sure that you have time for yourself. And asking for help is not being rude. It's not any sign of weakness. It's just something that you owe it. We owe it to ourselves. So I think women in general, they have a little challenging time, a little bit more, because of the existing structure, the social norms that we are the caring ones, so we have to, do more, and it's okay. So kids, how are kids doing? It's it's something, that make sure you talk to your kids, make sure you check in with them, make sure you huddle with them, make sure you are their friends now, also with the social isolation, so you have to be their friends too now. Make sure you're checking on the kids and make sure that they're checking on their friends so that they're doing well. So it's just a support system that not only as a friend, not only as a family, but also as a friend, it really comes in very handy right now during these times. um, I know we've been telling our kids, stay away from phones, social media, but now it's interesting. We're saying, okay, you know what? Connect to the social media, get your phone, text, and make sure people are doing okay. So it's the times have changed a little bit, and I think it's needed though to some extent, as long as we have the balance. I think it's good. It's all good in terms of the social interaction the kids now may have to do. Um, Keeping kids busy, keeping kids challenged. I mean, with the online schooling, the kids are doing 2 to 3 days a week. Our kids are doing virtual martial arts session once a week, piano session, they're tutoring, merit badges for the Boy Scouts. So just keeping them challenged enough, busy enough, and not overwhelming them. And I think that really is something I'm sure a lot of us are doing. Um, and we may need to start planning for long term for our kids, the academics, because they may not go back to school this year at all. So how do we kind of prepare ourselves, prepare our kids that, this is a possibility? I mean, looking into the long-term academic options, like whether it's homeschooling. I mean, it's things that we have to start thinking, and it does add to stress as a parent, speaking for myself, like, other than work, taking care of their health, household stuff, we do have to think about where this is heading when it comes to our kids' academics. So I do have an 8-page long list for all the different websites. I have given it to Som, so maybe he can share all the websites, all the activities, like Kids Rec from K to 12. They can all share different activities. So that might be useful to some of you. So please take a look. Now coming to our seniors. I think they have been hit the hardest because they really rely on in-person interaction. They like to meet people, go for their walk and talk, sit on the bench in the park and have that conversation, that connection. Places of worship are closed. So how do we help them to stay connected? I mean, it's something that we may need to help them with technology and be patient, very patient about it. I tried to wish my mother Happy Mother's Day this morning. I tried to FaceTime her, so that was interesting. But at least she got to see me, so it was 50% success. And I'm having more video visits with my older patients, and they love it. I mean, they're so happy to see actually another human being. They won't stop waving, and so they're the most happiest bunch. So just make sure that keep our seniors connected, because they really miss hugging their grandkids, and visiting them. So just make sure that you are aware of that. I'm going to show a third slide, and that's basically I want to sum up things about self-care, basically like my 4 pillars of self-care. So physical activity, I mean, that's something really important. And what I normally do is in between my schedule, calling patients, I'll do a quick workout or a quick stretch or Zumba or something, because that keeps my energy level going. Nourish, I picked a few dishes and I grill a lot more. So I am eating healthy. So I'm trying to, take care of that part. Connect. I think that is going to be the most important thing right now. I mean, form some groups, like pick up some gardening, some cooking club. We have a lot of virtual sessions with our friends where we celebrate birthdays. We just had one last night with a dancing session with Antakshari. So yes, we are connecting in a different way, but it's still working. It's still helping. And then reduce stress. I mean, again, there are so many apps in terms of meditation, so something you can hear about, talk how to manage your stress, your anxiety, some self-care skills, some self-coping skills. So just make sure you look into those options to take care of your mental health. So this is all mental and physical health. So make sure you do take care of yourself in terms of that. And I want to show one last slide to conclude. So this is something, I kind of see it as how emotionally, like we have been through, or people have gone through this COVID pandemic. We were all in the fear zone, right? Some of us still maybe, but that's fine. But this is when people, started getting the toilet papers, or Lysols, all wipes, and all the rice, and so people were scared. And I'm going to admit, I was scared. I did actually have an anxiety attack because I was like, how am I going to take care of my patients? What if I get sick and I'm going to bring it back home? What if my kids get sick? So I did have an anxiety. I did have a lot of stress about it. But then I kind of, went into the learning zone. And I start to not thinking about things that I can't control. I stopped watching news for some time. I came off of social media for a few weeks because I was just getting overwhelmed with so much information. So I had to take care of myself. So I kind of made a create a little block so I could learn. I can reset my button and just kind of recognize what's in my control and what I can do. And I tried to kind of work on that. And then the growth zone. I think that growing zone, I think this is where I am for the most part, but I do tend to step back into the learning zone. So it's between the growing zone and the learning zone. And how do we find ourselves? How do we sustain ourselves in that growing zone? Is like you think about people, like think about others, like whether it's how can I help my patients, or whether it's all the frontline healthcare providers, right? How much sacrifice they're doing right now, all of the essential workers, truckers, grocery shoppers. I mean, think about all those people, like how much they are helping us. So grateful, gratitude. I think that's very important in this growing zone that I'm talking about. Finding a purpose. I mean, other than taking care of your family, your friends, I mean, find a purpose to connect with someone. Pick up phone, call, see how they're doing. So find your own purpose, whether it's picking up a skill, new skill. So that there's always something that you can think that you can do something differently that you haven't done in a long time. Um, Grateful, gratitude. I think that's my biggest wellness mantra is gratitude because it starts from home, neighbor, it just reflects all across and it really kind of gives you so much of sense of satisfaction that I really wish we would practice more, practice early. Talk to our kids about it, like the gratitude, like how important it is to develop early in the age, and so just those things, I think it kind of helps to grow and sustain our growth in terms of gratitude.